All right. Cool. Yeah. So this workshop is going to be geared especially to founders who are doing all of the things. So if you are in charge of product, marketing, selling, RevOps, you haven't made a dedicated hire for that. You really don't have time. And thank you guys for the interaction in the chat. I've got it pulled up as well, so I can kind of see if things are resonating with you. So great. You don't really have time to burn on demos that are not going to convert. And you really need a way to stay on top of deals and get some structure in place. And you want to do that for ideally as little money as possible, and free is even better. So you can spend money on other things. So today is going to be about getting that structure in place through using HubSpot's free CRM. So what I'm not here to do is to show you how to create a contact record, right? Like HubSpot's knowledge base is amazing. So if you type it in and search it, we all know how to use the Googler, right? Like this is definitely not going to be that workshop that walks you step by step. And if you haven't been to one of my workshops before, I'm a proponent of let's get the content out that is fresh and relevant. And I'm not worried about, oh, this needs to look beautiful on a slide, or I'm going to need a graphic that really pulls you in, right? Like the content is actionable. It's tactical. And so I know that you guys are going to go out and search for these things. So take your screenshots. It's going to be, probably some things to jot down. I'll have a resource at the end that I'll be able to share, but this is going to move really fast. I'm going to condense down like weeks of founder training into this one session. So let me take one quick minute and tell you why I'm here leading this workshop and why this topic matters to me. My name's Laura Garrison. I'm managing partner at Darwinian Ventures, and I've spent the last 4 years helping SaaS founders go from we're building to we're booking revenue. So what I'm getting ready to share with you is not theory. I've built and run the actual systems that drive these results. So recent wins, I guess, in the last year and a half, one client, Yatco, we doubled ARR in 12 months. We 5x'd the lead gen engine, and I led that sales team. I built the outbound motion. We completely overhauled the CRM. So everything from the script to the sequence, we built from scratch. And then right now at Grand Avenue, we've spent the last 2 years running their outbound engine from top to bottom, not just supporting sales, but owning that revenue number. So we've built the kind of sales processes and infrastructure that got them ultimately acquired, which was their goal. So across all of that, what we've learned is if your CRM is messy, then your sales motion is also going to be messy, right? And when it's built correctly, you can go from chaos to extreme confidence. So today I'm going to show you how to build that foundation, and it's all going to be with tools that are free, that are fast, and that are designed to scale with you. And just so you know that I have experience in the free version, because all of our clients are using a paid version, but I've actually built a couple of businesses using just the free version of HubSpot. So pretty familiar with what the limitations are going to be there. And this is going to be a step-by-step guide. So exactly what you need to do first, and then what you don't need to do and you don't need to worry about right now. And then really quickly at Darwinian, we've been in the trenches with early stage teams for about 8 years. We've led a ton of leadership engagements. We've fully managed sales at a lot of these orgs, helping clients kind of hit these milestones. Usually I spend a minute or two on this, but I'm going to roll on because I see a lot of familiar faces, and I also know I've got a lot to kind of pack into to this content. So let's get started. So most of you guys are selling probably straight out of your Gmail and DMs right now. And that works until it doesn't work. So if you're chasing leads across 6 different channels, you're losing track of who opened what, and you're following up based on, just relying on your memory, then your pipeline turns into a feeling. And when you get asked about it by investors, like, hey, what does the next quarter look like? You're going to say, I feel good about it, or we'll see, which is not a forecast, right? That's a little bit chaotic. So I'm going to show you how to get that visibility with a really lightweight system to run that sales motion and track it. So we're going to set those pieces up today. As I mentioned before, this is not a demo. This is a go-to-market setup. So if you want a HubSpot demo, reach out to them. They're great. They'll give you a demo of the product. But what we're going to cover, it's short, it's sharp, it's everything that you need to kind of implement HubSpot in the next 48 hours. So we're going to set up the CRM the right way so it matches how you sell. Because out of the box, HubSpot can be pretty frustrating, in my opinion, even though it's an amazing tool. Second, we're going to talk about lead gen and lead capture. So we want to stop leaking deals just because your form is going into like a random inbox that no one is checking. We're going to build your sales pipeline. So it's going to give you a clean view of the entire funnel. Even if you've only got 5 conversations you're juggling right now, wouldn't it be great to know that that none of those are slipping? Then I'm going to show you some lightweight automation that you can do inside of the free HubSpot plan. It's going to make your workflow faster. It's going to make it tighter. It's going to make it way easier for you to track. And we'll hit a little bit on campaigns, all through the lens of founder-led selling, not like big brand broadcast or anything like that. And then the last thing we'll look at really quickly is how to cover or how to use HubSpot's reporting and integrations to keep everything usable and fast for you to be able to access. So let's look at what's actually inside the free version of HubSpot and why I consider it, your arsenal or your founder weaponry. So everything you see here is completely free. Now, there are a few limitations on it, like with the booking link, you can only create 1, right? If you're using templates, I think you can only create 5. But I've kind of hacked around this, and so I'll be able to show you how to maximize on what is free. The main thing is you're not going to have to duct tape like 5 different tools together. So don't really need to pay for MailChimp, Calendly, what else? Streak, Superhuman, all, Zapier, all of that, just to start selling. So you're going to be able to track every conversation, follow up fast, book your meetings, capture your inbounds, and then see all of your funnel in one place. And the most important thing is this is going to be simple enough that you're actually going to use it. It's going to replace 5 tools that you would essentially have to pay for. So instead of burning capital on software, then you can be closing deals with it. So let's build it. So I'm going to walk you through how to get this live and usable in like half an hour. So it works the way that you sell and not just some, template or pre-built item. So the first stage is just going to be set up. So obviously the most boring part, but go to HubSpot, create your free account, right? Once you create your free account, you're going to go to the gear icon in the top right corner. You're going to connect your Gmail, or God bless you, if you're in Outlook, you can connect your Outlook as well. Now is the time to move to Gmail if you're not there, because all these tools tend to work better in that workspace. But got a couple clients that are in Outlook, and let me tell you, it's a struggle. So that's going to start tracking your emails automatically and creating contact records for you. So you're not going to have to guess anymore who you followed up with. Because looking at emails in Gmail is not great, right? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to connect your Google Calendar, right? This is going to power your meeting scheduling that I'll show you later. And then last part, install the Chrome extension. So game changer, you can log emails, you can create tasks directly from your inbox. So this is going to make your Gmail feel a lot like a CRM. So once you got that connected, this is the homework for you. I want you to add 10 prospects, just 10 people that you've already spoken to. They could be investor intros, they could be warm leads, they could be conversations from your network. It doesn't matter if you've closed them or not. Just put in real humans, because that is what's going to be needed to get real data flowing into the system so that you can actually feel how this works, right? Don't wait for the perfect automation to kick in, just add people into your pipeline manually. So I always say the CRM is like the gym. It only works when you show up and use the equipment. So, you know, for what it's worth. All right. So next is going to be moving on to building your pipeline. So we've got our setup done, only the pieces that you need. Also, I didn't include on this last slide, but add your profile pic. There's a place for that, but add that piece. All right. So for your pipeline, if you are tracking deals on a spreadsheet or you're tracking them in your head, you're not selling, I don't know what, you're gambling, right, with it. So create the new deal pipeline in HubSpot to reflect the stages of how you want to sell, right? So if you're like, hey, how do I do that? Put it in the HubSpot knowledge base. How do I change up these stages to fit my process? So I would say the clean kind of founder ready structure that I would start with would be prospecting, discovery, demo scheduled, decision, close won, close lost. Keep this really, really simple. And I wouldn't create a 14-stage funnel that you're never going to actually update. Just match it to the key steps in your buyer journey. I do a whole workshop on the buyer journey. So I think that's probably coming up later this year. So we'd love to see you guys there. But once you've got that built in, go in and create a deal for each of these people. And here are the key items that you need. You need a name for the deal, obviously the client name, or, you know, if it's an investor, like you may want to add that information. You want to associate a contact with it. So who's the person tied to the deal? You want to know when it's going to close. So put in an expected close date. If you don't know, that's okay. Put in a best guess. Get as close as you can. Put in an estimated value. Again, if you don't know, estimate it. Every time you go back to that deal, ask yourself, is the close date right? Is the deal amount right? Like, we are literally religious about this at Darwinian, and we're constantly, you know, optimizing and updating. But put in what you know, and then where the deal came from, right? All of this is going to help you later. And if you do that, you've actually built a sales forecast, right? Even if you've only got 5 deals in there, it gives you a view of what's coming. And that's what you need to do if you're going to raise, if you're going to hire, if you're going to scale responsibly. So once you do that, one of my very favorite, like, quick wins would be to create a filter inside of your pipeline called hot this week, or hot, you know, hot deals now, whatever makes sense for you. If you live in the South like me, we're drawn like a moth to a flame to the hot and now sign from Krispy Kreme. So I would probably call it hot and now, right? But this is going to show you, I would set up the filters to show you next steps due this week, high intent tags, and then emails that you've sent that don't have a reply yet. That's going to become a daily dashboard for you so that you can check that first thing every day. And it's going to flip you from reacting to executing. So it's a really big shift, and it's a nice shift where you get up and you can look at that and go, okay, let me handle these items, right? I told you this was going to go fast, so I'm going to keep rolling. Like Gmail. Okay, I'm looking at the chat for just a second. Does it work with LinkedIn Sales Navigator like Gmail? Not out of the box, it does not. So what I do for that is if I flip something out of LinkedIn Sales Nav, you can totally work and prospect out of that, but I like to get conversations moved over to my inbox, and I will oftentimes screenshot a LinkedIn message and pop it in the notes so that I know what's happened before, and then I'll kick it forward, you know, to that. Agneta, if you are in Outlook, it's just a little bit of a different setup, and it's not as easy as on the Gmail side. So you can still do it, but there's some nuances to it that may be a little bit different. But you should be able to find some resources for that online. Okay, so we're going to make sure that the CRM doesn't become a black hole. And we're going to do that by making sure that your inbound lead capture is set up the right way. So let's talk about what happens when someone actually shows interest. So most clients that we work with initially, when they do have a form on their website, but it goes to their inbox. And then when it goes to their inbox, they may pile up and they get overwhelmed. And then it's like, oh, I'll get to that. And they never do because they're busy. It's not intentional, but those things just get buried. So what you want to make sure is that when someone lands on your site because they heard you on a podcast or they saw a LinkedIn post or whatever that source is, they go to your site, and when they fill out the form, you know about it and it's pumped somewhere other than just a dead end, which is your inbox. So, right now they're going to your site. Maybe there is no form. Maybe there is a form, but there's not a follow-up. Maybe they email you at your contact at email address and that never gets checked. So that is a dead end for them. And it is a detriment to your pipeline. So we're going to fix that. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to fix that piece inside of HubSpot. So once you've done these pieces I've already told you, you'll go to HubSpot, you'll go to marketing, lead capture, and forms. Marketing, lead capture, forms is the path. So you're simply going to go to forms and you're going to create an embedded form, which is free in the free version of HubSpot. And you're only going to ask for 3 pieces of information because you want to qualify on the call, right? You don't want to DQ someone or have a form that's so long that they bail on it ahead of time. So you want their name, you want their email, and then maybe one qualifying question like, what problem are you trying to solve? Like, keep it really light, keep it really open, and then publish it. You'll get an embedded code. You'll put that on whatever you're using to host your site, Webflow, Notion, whatever that happens to be, and you're done. So now we're going to make that smart, right? We're going to use the free version to make it smart. So you're going to go into settings, you're going to go into notifications, and every time someone fills out a form, it does 3 things. You want to trigger a notification to your inbox. It's going to auto create a contact already. That's how HubSpot is built. And then you want to auto assign a follow-up task so that if you're tied up, if you're at a conference, if you're, on a webinar and your day is stacked, you've got a task to get back to that thing. So you're not missing anything. You're not hoping that someone flags you, on Slack or in DMs, whatever. This is all in the system and it's built in. So, that is the key to making this not a dead end. You can also brand the form with something to make it like not boring, like need something, or just give me your email and we'll book a call. I don't know, but something to kind of match your founder tone. Because people aren't buying software. I mean, we think they are, but they're not. They're buying clarity, right? They're solving a problem that you have. And so they're not technically wanting to buy. It's not get a demo, right? That's what every single site says. So if you can have a CTA for that form that kind of encapsulates your personality and the way that you would speak, I think that is really powerful. Okay, so now we've got inbound leads showing up. They're getting captured. They're getting actioned. So we're going to move on to, I think, probably one of the most underrated tools in the free tier, which is the booking link. Doesn't sound sexy, but it is really the difference between let me know when you're free and then getting a meeting on your calendar for this week, right? So if you're playing that game of what time works for you, and that's over email, then you're losing deals to friction. I will say this, when I send someone my booking link, if I'm in conversation with them, I will always kind of preface that link with something like, feel free, what do I say? If you could throw out a few times this week that work for you, that would be great. And then I say, here's my booking link if this makes it easier, right? Because if you're throwing a booking link at someone, it is a little bit of a pain in the ass. We've all done it because you have to pull up the booking link and then you have to pull up your calendar and then you have to play the what's available matching game. And that is a friction point on the sales side. So whatever you can do to reduce that is great. So if they want to send you 3 or 4 times, I promise you, you're probably going to make it work, because that's what founders do. But you certainly want to, make sure that, that you're not throwing it out like, here's my link, like, I'm so busy and important, that sometimes that's how it can come across. So just kind of be mindful of that. You need this link that connects your real-time availability, and then it ties directly to your CRM. That's the 2 key pieces here, right? So yes, Calendly does the same thing. Yes, I think Chili Piper and other apps do the same thing, but because you've connected your calendar, then it's got your real-time availability kind of roped in. And if you have more than one startup or more than one calendar that you manage, pro tip, clockwise will save your life. And there is a cost, and it is worth it, whatever that is. I have all of my calendars kind of pouring into one place, and it will keep that real life availability working, even if it's your personal calendar, right? And you've got dance lessons for your kid, or you've got a specific dinner and you've got a hard stop, or a dentist appointment, right? We all have, personal lives, and that can keep you straight. As long as it's pouring into your calendar that's connected to HubSpot, then you'll be good to go there. So that's really great. So all you'll do is you'll go to HubSpot to set this up, go to sales, go to meetings, and then you set up your booking link. When you do that, you want to set up your availability window with the days you're available, how much buffer time you want before and after meetings. Like, I don't let people schedule me. I think it's like a 3-hour window, right? So if I'm available at the top of this hour, somebody can't book me. I don't look available, because I don't want a meeting, right after this call that I maybe don't know about or I'm not prepared for. So you can set that buffer time between calls, or timeout where people can't book. Then you would choose your meeting type. I would just do like a 15-minute intro or a 30-minute discovery call. There's a limitation inside the free version where I think you can only have one booking link. Then you want to connect Zoom or Google Meet. It's a one-time done connection. You can Google how to do it, but you install it in the marketplace. You install, put your credentials in, and it automatically will schedule Zoom meetings or Google Meets for all of the meetings that get scheduled for you. So now you have a live self-service scheduling tool that's connected to your CRM, and it's connected to your calendar. So it's a massive time saver to be able to use that. So I think up till now, this is kind of like standard stuff. It's a little bit boring, but it is necessary. Now we're going to kind of go into the next level items from all of this setup, right? So this will probably be, a lot of this is probably like, yeah, okay, duh, I know this is what needs to be set up. But this is I think probably the coolest part of it. So let's talk about what makes or breaks early stage CRM adoption. I've seen it a million times, and it's automation. So here's the catch on automation. If you are on a free plan, you don't get HubSpot's automated workflows, right? But that's okay, because I don't think that you need them to start working smart. What you really need is a way to prioritize your day and make sure that, no deal is going to go cold just because you forgot to follow up. So this manual automation that I'm going to show you is really lightweight. It's really simple, and it works. That's the best part. So again, this is like the best part of this whole training. So if you were working on something else, tune in, because this is the good stuff. So what you're going to do first is you're going to create some saved views in your CRM. And saved views are dynamic lists that will show you what needs your attention. So inside of HubSpot, there's 2 types of lists that you can build. You can build a static list, which is like a snapshot in time, and you can build an active list, or what I like to call an evergreen list, that's always going to fit the filters that you set up. And so these are the dynamic lists that are going to show you exactly what needs your attention. No contact in 14 days. It's going to show you deals that you haven't touched in 2 weeks, right? Hot leads, over 2K ACV, whatever your, breaking point would be for like your higher value opportunities. That's what you're going to flag out here. You want those to be front and center. So those are your hot leads. And then you're going to want a list of, they filled out a form, but they haven't booked a meeting yet. So you can follow up with any interest that hasn't yet converted. A lot of people will set this up to be a stage in their pipeline and it's inbounds. But that can be tricky and tough, right? Especially if they're not qualified, and it can clog up your pipeline and just kind of create problems there. So this is a really great way to keep track of that. And those are going to be your daily dashboard. So every single morning you want to open and look at those 3 lists, and then you triage from there, right? And as you learn to do it this way, there are going to be more lists that you're going to be like, oh man, I really need to track this thing, or this is what's falling through the cracks, and you will adapt to fit that. But those will be your daily dashboards so that you can kind of close the loop the way that a RevOps team would close the loop. And pro tip here, you can kind of stack filters. So for contacts, you can say, hey, I want to see contacts that have a deal, that have opened an email, and there's no task due in the next 3 days, right? So then this becomes like your sales assistant that kind of calls out what's needed without having to code or pay for anything. So that's what I mean by building your system. So now you've got your pipeline, you got your meetings, and now you have a repeatable focus. So you're not spending time like staring at this giant contact list going, okay, what do I do next, right? I have a bajillion contacts in my HubSpot. They're not all leads, right? They're not all need to be followed up with. So HubSpot will tell you, hey, here's where you need to spend your time. Okay, so now let's talk about how to measure what's working. Because if you're not tracking activity, you're not tracking conversation, or not tracking your conversions, you're really just out there like both fingers crossed, all your toes crossed. Like, I hope that this thing is working right now. And so we're going to set up a basic dashboard that you can check every week, and you can know exactly how it's going, right? So this isn't based on a feeling. So how do we actively measure what's working? It's through a basic dashboard setup is what we're going to do. So here are the KPIs that I want you to track inside of HubSpot. This is not fancy. It just tells you if your go-to-market is moving in the right direction. I see a question come in from Deborah. Are the saved views created directly from the contact list or better from the deals board? Great question. The saved views can be in the dashboard, and the other one would be a save list, and that is under lists. So there's 2, and the save views in the dashboard are kind of like tabs that you can create and save those. So there'll be tabs at the top. Thank you for the question. All right, so these are the ones to track. Number of contacts added. This is the top of your funnel, right? If it's low, then your growth is going to be capped. So again, if you've got your Gmail connected, everyone that emails you is going to automatically flow into the CRM. Your contacts are going to grow, right? If your Gmail's not connected and you're not signed in, then you're going to kind of miss that piece. Also, are you adding people to the CRM? Apollo, I believe, has the free Apollo version where you can download the extension. You get 50 free lookups a month without having to pay for the service. So bare minimum, you're feeding your pipeline who you know, plus the 50 free lookups. And you should put that on your calendar and be like, hey, have I maxed this out for every single month, right? Those things will compound over time. Number 2, you want to track number of deals created. So this tells you how many conversations are actually turning into potential revenue. You want to track call to connect to meeting to close rate. And this will have to probably be manual at first, but you want to know, like, the numbers can come out of HubSpot, right? You probably have to do a manual calculation, but what percentage of people who get an email actually end up on a call with you? That's the big thing to track right now. And then time to demo. And let me tell you, I get a question a lot of times, what is a good connect to meeting rate? So connect would be not, I talk to like somebody standing in my way. Like connect would be, I pitched to the right person or somebody that can get me to the right person. And if you can land a meeting from that 10% of the time, you're doing well. If you can do that 15% of the time, you're like elite status, right? So that is a good goal. If you're at 8%, what do you need to do to get to 10%? Right? Those are the kind of metrics that we look at week over week with our teams. And then time to demo. How long is it taking to move someone from first touch to that initial meeting? And then we need to build a founder dashboard. So this is actually in the reporting. HubSpot recently updated how you build reports. It used to be, I think I took like a multi-hour training when I initially learned how to build reports because it wasn't intuitive, and it really has gotten a lot better in these last two releases. So I think that creating these 3 reports are the place to start. This is again available in the free version. So you want, your dashboard is just 3 widgets, deals by stage. So you want to be able to visually see where your pipeline is clogging up, right? Activity by owner. So even if you're on the rep, like even if you are the only rep, if you're your own rep, the accountability is still important. So it helps you, because what will happen as in your seat as a founder is you will have every intention of doing sales related activities for the day. And then the day blows up, right? And you're like, shit, all right, I'm going to get to it tomorrow. Right. And then other things come up, something happens with the product, you've got to have certain, whatever it is. And then you're like, all right, I'll get it tomorrow. And then the week ends and you go, man, I intended to make 50 like new outreaches this week, and it's Friday and I've done 2. Right. So hold yourself accountable to that piece. And so activity by owner is important. And then meetings booked this week. Are you consistently driving prospects forward? You do not need 20 reports and charts. You just need 3 that you're going to check every single Monday or every single Friday, whatever that looks like. If you can see the motion, then you can improve it. And if that's the key here, right? So I think we're coming close to the end. All right, so I'll move fast. So let's talk about integrations. So what happens at this stage is most founders will either integrate nothing or they will integrate all the things, right? If you integrate nothing, you're missing out on easy wins. And if you integrate everything, and Roberto, let me tell you, I appreciate I'm like looking at you and I see you laughing. I'm like, man, okay, my jokes aren't terrible. Or this is like super relatable. So thank you. And then if you integrate everything, then you're going to end up with this like Frankenstack that nobody wants to touch. So you only need to integrate the tools that directly help you to close deals or speed up your process, right? If it doesn't do either of those 2 things, then don't bother with it right now. Worry about it later. So this is what I recommend in kind of the starter go-to-market stack. Gmail, calendar. You should already have this, right? It powers your email logging and your meeting links. Zoom or Google Meet. So meetings that get booked through HubSpot automatically generate links without manual invites. Massive hack. Slack. We haven't talked about this one, but basically you can set up notifications or deal alerts so that you never miss an inbound, you never miss a booked meeting. So hooking that up is key. And if you ever want to go on vacation or out of town, and you've got somebody else doing this stuff, Slack is a great place to hook it up. Stripe. So if you are charging anything, even beta pricing, you can integrate Stripe for quote to close tracking. So this is a big one. And then the extension is going to give you that power user functionality. So now you can log emails, you can view contact timelines, You can create deals without ever having to leave your inbox. So notice what is not on the list. Zapier, Gong, fancy enrichment tools. Like there's nothing wrong with these things, but you don't need them right now. If you were to do something, I would say Otter is the thing, right? Like way cheaper than Gong, and it'll give you that note-taking capability, and it's relatively inexpensive. And also what's not on this list is your best friend's AI beta project, right? Like we all kind of fall into that trap as well. We're not building a marketing tech stack. You're building a revenue system that works at your stage where you are right now. So if you can't explain how your HubSpot works to an investor or a new hire in under like 3 or 4 minutes, Otter, OTTER, like the animal, is the alternative to Gong. It's not the same as Gong, but it is a great lightweight version of Gong. I think they give you like 300 minutes a month free. And since you asked, do not turn on the automatic joining to your calls. You want to dictate what calls are important enough to record, and that way you don't burn through your minutes. So when you do the setup, it'll prompt you to automatically do the thing, and not great. There you go. Yeah, absolutely, Roberta. Yeah, Dripify is great. There's a couple of other ones out there, but yeah, you can totally turn those on. It's money better spent, right? Than I think. But yeah, if I was buying additional tools right now, or probably at a lot of your stages, if you're using free HubSpot, Otter's a great tool to buy. Dripify is a great tool to buy as well. All right, so you're building emotion, you're proving you can repeat it. That is it. So now you've got, this is the recap. You've got a working CRM. You got real leads captured. You got meetings getting booked. You got deals tracked. Got visible KPIs. And then you have only the tools that matter that are being tied in. So this is a real sales system. And I'm going to recap all of this so that you can go build this tomorrow. If you want. So step 1, do the setup that we talked about. Step 2, build the pipeline, capture your inbounds, book your meetings, right? Set up your 15-minute meeting link, embed it in all the places, right? Clockwise is the app to sync calendars to Gmail and Outlook. I've also used Calendar Bridge. So I'll put both of those clockwise. I think for one Calendar Bridge is like $5 a month, so it may be cheaper. So this is kind of the list that I would recommend, and this is why this matters and why founders bring us in is, the first stage of building a company, it's often like that combo of like, hey, you're a scrappy genius, and it's a little bit of total chaos, which is totally okay when you're like validating, you're learning, you're figuring it out. But the second that you need to see a repeatable path, and the second you know who you're selling to and how, they're going to expect you to run this like a system, right? So this will get you there. And most systems are going to stall at this point. Founder-led sales is ultra powerful. It just doesn't scale, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but it just doesn't scale. So that's where we fit into like scaling those pieces. So if you're at that point where leads are inconsistent, those things are falling through the cracks, this is like, now is the moment to fix these things with kind of the setup that I've shown you here. So, push your CRM live today, get your 10 leads in there, book your 3 meetings, send 5 outbound meeting, links with or 5 outbound like emails with your meeting link, get your daily filters kind of set up. I know that, I think Marianne, you guys do a stop a little bit before the end to do like a VIP Q&A. So I'll let you stop me when you want me to stop, so that we can flip to that. But what I've put together is just a one pager that kind of has this set up with those filters. It's lightweight, but it will give you a little more than usually just the slide deck doesn't give you a lot of information. It's more like the high level. So if you want that, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, or you can email me. Either of those is fine.